and she basically just took like a massive, you know, uh, butcher knife or whatever you want to call it, and cut her arm. Tried to, basically commit suicide in front of
Right,
my
right.
brother and I.
Wow. How old were you
And
at the time?
I was in second grade at the time.
Wow.
And, for a long time, it just really scarred me. And,
And how did you guys stop her? Did you?
I mean, at that point, I took my shirt off and put a tourniquet on her arm and just like tied it
Oh,
off
so
as
she
tight
actually
as I
did cut her.
could.
I see.
Yeah, she was like pretty much bleeding out on the ground.
Welcome to the Valiant Forge podcast, where we help men overcome life's battles, show up better in the world, and become a valiant warrior for God. This is a place where we share practical strategies that will equip you on life's journey to help you become the man God has called you to be. Are you ready to overcome your doubt and fulfill your purpose just like Gideon? If so, let's go.
Welcome to the Valiant Forge podcast, where valiant warriors come to be sharpened. I am Mark Osborne. I am the host of the podcast. My guest today is Jordan Turbyfil. He grew up in a very chaotic household, and because of that upbringing, it led him to a life of addiction and doing things that just were out of his character. And something happened in his life, as you know, I've talked about this on many other podcasts myself. God will sometimes use a bigger hammer to draw you back to him. He ended up in prison with a DUI, and while he was in, I don't know if it was prison, but it was jail. While he was in jail, he had a turnaround where he called on God. And when he came out of that, his life started turning around. I'm not going to get more into the story because then you won't want to listen to the podcast. But it's a powerful episode, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Before I continue on, before I share the episode with you, remember, if you like the podcast, please like the video. I don't get very many likes on my video, and I'm not here begging for likes, but what that does is it shows the algorithm that people are interested in this. I get a pretty decent amount of views on a lot of these podcasts, but I don't get any likes. And if you like the video, especially if you comment on the video, tell me what you think of the video. I want to hear how you feel about the stories of the men that I'm having on. And I will tell you this, so today, a lot of these interviews I recorded months ago. But today is July 26th. July 30th of last year is when I started the YouTube channel. And I know I've been sharing a lot of interviews, and I post one a week, somewhere between Wednesday and Friday. I know last week I said Wednesday, but things happen. Somewhere between Wednesday and Friday, I post one a week. But I haven't done a solo episode in a long time. So I want to get back to that. They will be shorter. I'm going to get back to that. So I decided that starting in July, I'm going to start doing a solo episode and an interview per week. So if you have topics you would like me to explore, let me know in the comments below, and I will dive into that. Without further ado, again, if you like the video, share it with a friend. If you think a friend may resonate with the story that you hear today through the podcast, there also are a lot of good lessons in this podcast. This isn't just a story. There's a lot of good lessons in this podcast. So share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, and let me know what you think. I will see you in the next video. Here is my conversation with Jordan Turbyfil. Jordan, welcome to the podcast. How
Appreciate you
are
having me
you?
on, man. I'm doing
Yeah,
well. It's
absolutely.
a little hot out here today, but we can't allow the temperature to have an impact on our movements throughout the day. So uh,
Absolutely.
we're getting
So
it.
you're a contractor, correct?
Yes, sir. We do hardwood and tile out here in Austin, Texas.
So do you go throughout the day, go to your different places where you have contracts going and check on your guys and
Yep, 100%. Right now, we're working on a really large exterior patio, and not everything goes as planned. We had made a couple of orders for some float to be delivered, and the company that was supposed to deliver it ended up calling me this morning, and actually yesterday morning as well, saying that it's going to be delayed. So I had to jump and start loading float in the truck and bringing it to the job site, and make sure the guys have materials to keep moving.
yeah. I don't know, but like when you came up on Podmatch, there was something about your picture, and I
Hmm.
didn't even know until I started looking into who you are that you're a blue collar guy.
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
blue collar guy myself. I'm a machinist. I've worked in machine shops my whole life. I still do it now. I'm
Oh, that's
still
awesome.
doing bivocational podcasting, but yeah. And to be honest, I think even if this grows, I'm still going to continue to work in some form because I love working with my hands. I like to be
Oh,
physical.
same. Yep,
Yeah.
same. There's nothing. I feel like as men, there's nothing that's more fulfilling than like pushing yourself in a physical job where you know you're serving your client in a positive way. And for me, um, you know, uh, being there to deliver materials, being the owner, but also being the feet on the ground, in the dirt, making sure that the guys have what they need, making sure that they have direction, so they're not just like sitting around waiting for questions to be answered and stuff like that. To me, that gives me so much purpose, and I really enjoy that process of it.
Yeah, and I'm sure your guys appreciate it as well.
Oh
I
yeah.
know, I know for me, when I see a leader that's not worried about getting his hands dirty and he's willing to come and do the work, I want to work harder for that guy.
Oh yeah. And yeah, that's exactly how I feel. It's like, before I started my own business, I worked for a bunch of other different companies. I've done a bunch of different trades growing up, and just kind of seeing how different owners and different project managers kind of handled. I've had a lot of bosses that were great at using their mouth, but never great at like showing what needs to be done.
Yeah,
And so I've taken an earful a handful of times, probably more than a handful of times. Um, but I always just felt like, the best way that I can uh, get guys that are motivated to work is to show them on a consistent basis that I'm willing to work as hard as I can for myself.
yeah.
And it's been great. My guys, I feel like, are phenomenal. They're all great dudes with families, just trying to provide and trying to get better every day.
That's awesome. You have a great attitude. And I know from researching you a little bit that you've had a rough upbringing.
Yep.
So why don't you tell the audience about your upbringing, what you went through and how you came to be who you are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a kid, I was the youngest of four, and once my parents kind of started to separate, my mom fell very deeply into drugs and alcohol. And as a 7, 8 year old, I didn't really understand it at the time and didn't really know what was going on. But I could tell that something was definitely off. And she gradually used more and more. She was a big meth addict, and there was things along the way that, like she would cut crosses into her arms,
Wow.
like really deep crosses, and then. One time I was cooking with her, and this was after my parents separated, but she didn't really have uh, her feet under her. So my dad was like, well, why don't you just, while I'm at work, you can come stay at our place. Because he, once they separated, he got an apartment and left her the house, um, which I have no idea what happened to the house. But, we started living with our dad because of everything that was kind of going on. And while he was at work, she was cooking with us or teaching me how to cook and stuff. And she basically just took like a massive, you know, uh, butcher knife or whatever you want to call it, and cut her arm, tried to, basically commit suicide in front of
Right,
my
right.
brother and I.
Wow. How old were
And
you at the time?
I was in second grade at the time.
Wow.
And, for a long time, it just really scarred me. And
And how did you guys stop her? Did you?
I mean, at that point, I took my shirt off and put a tourniquet on her arm and just like tied it
Oh,
off
so
as
she
tight
actually
as I
did cut her.
could.
I see.
Yeah, she was like pretty much bleeding out on the ground, and
Wow.
my brother called 911. Ambulance came and took her and left us at the apartment. My dad came and um, we went to the hospital to check on her, and then we went back home, and she was supposed to get out the next day, and then pretty much didn't see her for months, which I believe my dad tried to check her into rehab or something like that, and she just kind of fled, which was a lot of what she would do. Um, she would get into these incidents and then just kind of disappear. And it was like we would start to feel better and, as kids, just trying to live a normal life. And then all of a sudden she'd come back in and then our whole world would, essentially turn back upside down.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, I mean, it led me to a lot of my own self-destruction as well. When I turned 18, I started drinking alcohol. And, I can remember the first time I drank alcohol, I blacked out. And the second time I drank alcohol, I blacked out because all I knew of alcohol was if you're going to drink it, you're drinking to get drunk. That's
Right. That was,
essentially what
yeah.
what my mom had showed me. And
So from second grade to 18, you were dealing with all that pain. Do you think
yeah,
alcohol was a way to try to hide some of that pain? Did
oh,
you ever have any
100%.
counseling or anything from what you
Uh,
saw with your mom?
yeah, I went to counseling for when I was probably 2021. Um, and that was after, having a long stretch of just drinking as much as I could every weekend.
Wow.
Um, Finally, I got sober for like a year, and then I went to counseling during that time. Started to really kind of figure things out, or at least I had thought, and and then I started drinking again, and fell right back into it. And it started slow. It was oh, I'm only gonna drink once a year, and then turned into oh, I'm only gonna drink once every couple months, or then it turned into once every month, once every weekend, twice a weekend, four times a week, and I found myself getting my second DUI when I was, I believe, 26. And they kind of threw the book at me because the first time I got a DUI, I was 20 and I was completely blacked out. I was over three times the legal limit. And then the second time I got a DUI, same thing. I was blacked out over three times the legal limit. So they saw that as like, he's not learning anything. So let's, throw him in county jail in downtown LA for 120 days and
Wow.
did that. And, it really hit me because during that time, I did actually get sober, and it was to uh, try and lessen my sentence. And I started really trying to like go to AA, and I got a sponsor and stuff like that. and I kept pushing back the court date so I could show them I have more time sober and stuff like that. So once I did actually get my sentence, I basically took a plea deal and pleaded guilty, and um, they they cut my prison or jail time. I shouldn't say prison, but jail time in half. And once they put the shackles on and put me on a bus, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like, holy, holy crap! Like, where have you gotten yourself? I always felt like I was um, somebody that tried to do good, tried to be honest, tried to be truthful, and alcohol always brought out the worst in me. And now.
So where did that come from? That trying to always be good, be honest, be truthful. Did you have a church background or was that just instinctual?
Before my mom got into all the meth and stuff, and alcohol, she would take us to church all the time, and she would always be very spiritual with us and try and connect us with nature. We were always outside as kids, and um, yeah, I mean, she really breathed that kind of like light into us as kids, up until, first, second grade when she really started her downfall.
Yeah. So did you have a belief in God during all of that?
Oh yeah, 100%. When I sat there, when I got into the jail, and in LA County, it's typically like 100 to 200 people at a time getting processed to go in,
Hmm.
and they pretty much have everyone in this big rectangular room, sitting up against the wall. And I just remember sitting there looking around, just praying, just like, man, please don't let anything crazy happen to me while I'm in here. Please, God. And no, it was fun. Nobody really talked to me in there. I didn't really talk to anybody. Uh, it was fine. But it was a good learning experience of like
Yeah.
where I felt like I didn't belong, but obviously my actions is what led me there. So the only way I can ensure that I never end up there again was to completely change my actions, and not for a set time period, but forever. So, now I've been sober. It'll be 9 years, November 21st.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So when you prayed and asked God to not let anything happen to you, do you
Hmm.
feel like that was a shift? Like you felt like God heard you and now you have this
Oh,
connection with him that you didn't have before?
I mean, I always kind of felt like I had a connection, but specifically at that time, they had given me, I think it was 120 days, and then they switched it to 60, right? So they cut it in half. And because of the crime rate out there, they were saying if I got 60 days, I should probably serve like 10 to 20, right? So the crazy thing is, I get all the way through processing, and there's only like four white people in the group that I was getting processed in with. And once they finally put us in one of the I don't even know what it's called off the top of my head, but one of the areas where the cells are and the bunks are, they had all the Hispanic people on the top floor. They had all the African American people on the bottom floor. And because it was kind of overfilling, they had the four white people not in a cell, but just in the open on bunks. And I remember praying and sitting there in the top bunk, and I had the blanket completely over my head and was just squeezing the hell out of the pillow and just praying. And before it was probably, I don't know, 6 in the morning, and before we even woke up or got woken up to eat, um, I could hear them open the door and call my name to bring me out. And start the whole process of taking me out. So it was really,
Wow.
I was really only in there for like a day and a half, 2 days,
Hmm.
but it was nobody else got taken out at that time, you know?
Wow.
So it was like something where, yeah, I really felt like he heard me and kind of answered and felt like I was gonna, I was committed at that point to changing for good, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So after you got out of prison, what happened after that? Like, did you start looking for jobs and start to change your life? I know you stopped drinking.
Yeah. So right after that, it was a whirlwind, a whirlwind. Um, I called my dad. He came and picked me up and went to his house, and we basically had a barbecue. And he was like, "I just want you to relax. I'll barbecue." My older brother came over, who he's a big alcoholic as well,
Hmm.
and I think like 4 or 5 months sober at this point, and he was um, sneaking his alcohol. So he was running out to his car and filling up a Gatorade, and then drinking his Gatorade in front of us like he was just drinking Gatorade. And before we knew it, you could tell he was hammered, and he tried to fight me, and my dad tried to break us up. He ended up punching my dad in the face, and I chased him out of the house, and he jumped in his car and drove off. And yeah, just one of the
Wow.
I had already I can remember my nerves being so shot from being in jail, and that was
Yeah.
like the last thing I needed. But it was just uh, another reminder of what alcohol can do to people, you know?
Yeah.
And, but yeah, from there, um, I started just sleeping on my dad's couch. He helped me get, another job and was basically just doing manual labor, uh, for, a builder, actually for the builder who, built, designed, and owned, the Bachelor House, on the TV show.
Oh, wow.
So that was a fun experience. That helped me a lot, and I mean, I really just tried to kind of do anything. I started doing HVAC on the side on the weekends with a guy that I knew that was trying to like grow his HVAC business, so he needed people to run ducting and stuff like that. So learned all about that stuff. Got to the point where I could set up my own unit and get it going, and then just kind of kind of just grew. Like every job, I learned a lot and just took steps forward. And with when I was working as a laborer, they saw how hard I worked, and they moved me to a superintendent. I made sure I was showing up every day and just doing anything that was asked of me. We had one project that we did in downtown LA called the Two-Bit Circus, and it was like a Disney. Um, it was a project for Disney where they were kind of funding it, and whoever the GC was, he didn't include or check the electrician's bid to make sure that they were including cutting the concrete to dig and bury their electrical. And being a superintendent, you just kind of have to step up and just do that type of stuff. So that's kind of what I did, and made sure everything kept moving, and eventually got promoted to project manager. And um, from there, I met the a flooring contractor who really opened my eyes to tile and hardwood, and just started kind of working with them when I was working as a superintendent. And then, you know, got the opportunity to um, apply for a project manager position with them. and they're a nationwide company. And once I got that opportunity, um, I started changing a little bit more and progressing even further and doing the things that needed to be done. And from there, I met my beautiful wife, and we actually met on Instagram. So we did like the long distance thing for a year, and I would fly either her out or I'd fly out here every 2 weeks essentially. And once we decided that, we were going to get married and everything, we set a date for me to move out here. And I moved out here, got a job working for a flooring contractor as a project manager. And then immediately after we got married, COVID hit, and everything got kind of hairy where we were working or where I was working. And, a lot of what we talked about earlier with like leadership, the leadership there, they wanted to shut down, and all the laborers were like begging for money, and they didn't want free money. They wanted to work for it and earn it. And the leadership didn't want anybody out in the field because they were worried about everybody. And I was like, well, I mean, these these dudes got families too,
Yeah.
so let me I don't care about my health. Like, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna go work. And I just treated it like it was kind of normal. And sure enough, we got through it, got a bunch of people still working and feeding their families and stuff like that. And that was kind of really where
You
it
started
separ-
your.
yeah, it separated the the relationship between me and my previous employer. And probably a couple months before, or probably a month before Christmas, he just fired me out of nowhere.
Wow.
And from there, I just, went home, was like upset about it, but really I felt like there was this massive opportunity to just start my own thing and really drive it the direction that I felt was going to be positive, not only for me, but for my family and for my employees and for my
Hmm.
employees' family, and also for the client, just taking care of them in a better way, trying to be more knowledgeable and stuff like that. Um, I can always remember too, like one time that my old boss, he showed me his text messages, and he had like 700 unanswered text messages or unread. And I was just like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah. How do you run a business like that?
yeah. So like one thing with me is I'm super responsive. I truly feel like if you avoid a problem, you're only giving that problem more oxygen and room to
Hmm.
grow. And the best thing you can do, especially in business, is answer your phone, respond as quickly as possible, because something small can turn into something huge if you're not
Yeah.
answering or responding, you know?
So you have
So,
a great mindset and a great attitude. So during
yeah,
that
I
time of your
appreciate it.
growth, during that time of your growth, did you have men in your corner helping you along? Did you get some mentors?
Oh yeah, yeah. So one of the biggest, I feel like the past 2 years has been like the biggest kind of jump for me mentally. And what I did was I hired Wes Watson as one of my mentors, and he was the best. I mean, he showed me every day that he's willing to show up, even if, people are slandering his name all over social media,
Mm.
or to him, it didn't matter. He was like, I'm going to show up for you guys no matter what. And he did. Every single day he showed up. And I think that's, one of the most important things is just showing up. A
That's
lot of
that's
people,
awesome.
a lot of people just don't show up anymore. And, um, you
Yeah, I
know,
recently did a podcast about that, the power of showing up.
Oh man,
And
it's
showing up isn't
unbelievable.
just being there, it's being present.
Yeah,
Like we were
100%.
talking about in your workplace, you don't just go there every day. You go there and give 100%, just like the
Yep,
Bible says. You do your work heartily unto the Lord. Everything
yep,
that you do, this is a everything that you do, you're representing Jesus Christ. If you're saying that you're a believer in God and everything that
100%.
you do, people should see that in you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, we're serving him with the work that we're doing, and the harder the work, it's like the bigger the reward, not only physically but mentally, you know.
Yeah.
If we're able to climb that mountain and get over that difficult task, as they would say, I always believe that the reward is that much worth it.
Amen.
And
I can see you're a disciplined guy. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
you're kind of jacked. You got big arms.
yeah, I stay working out every day. I don't take a day off. I feel like it's all connected. Um, if we can push ourselves every day to grow mentally, and to me, it's more for the mental. I'm not the person that's gonna ever go on stage and show off and flex for a crowd. For me, it's all 100% mental. And if I can push myself every day and try and like turn off my own lights, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, uh, the more you push yourself every time, the further you're pushing that point to where somebody else can turn off your lights, you know? So you're building your capability mentally, physically every day. So,
Yeah.
um,
I talk about this a lot. It's mind, body, and soul. And
100%.
and and spirit. That's what your spirit is, your mind, body, and your soul.
Yeah.
So this is a Christian podcast. So do you have any spiritual disciplines that you I know I
Um,
heard you talk about non-negotiables on other podcasts.
100%. Yeah, I
What
read
are
the
some of
Bible.
your not
I
Go
read
ahead.
the Bible every day. I have an app that I use that gives me, at least a point to start every day, and
Yeah.
just going through, just trying to dive into it and get in the Word. Obviously, praying every day is super important to me, and I believe, a lot of people pray when they're needing something. I like to pray and just be grateful. Just
Amen.
thanking
Yep.
thanking God for everything that's been given to me, even if it's the little things like the oxygen that I'm breathing. You know what I mean? Sometimes I think we gotta be more grateful and just appreciate what we have. Um, and that doesn't mean uh, appreciate to the point to where you're not progressing anymore. Because I
Correct.
think
Yep.
sometimes people take it that way, like, oh, I'm just appreciating everything. Uh, I think God always wants us to do more than what we did yesterday.
For sure.
Um, so I try and do that every day as well. You know,
I was 56 years old when I started this podcast. I could have
yeah,
easily been like, I've lived my
you've done
life.
a
I've done
lot.
a lot.
Yep,
I can just let it go. But
yep,
no, I kept feeling like God's like, you need to start a podcast. I mean, I
one hundred
kind of have
percent.
this, I have a story that, you would probably
Hold on one sec.
appreciate because, okay,
Yeah,
that you would probably appreciate because I, I've heard you talk about this, the guys in the trades that
yeah,
kind of just let themselves go. They get overweight.
100%. Yeah,
It's very easy because you work so hard during the day and you come home and you just want to veg. I was that guy
yeah.
for most of my life. When I was 48, I had a mild heart attack,
Oh
and
wow.
it was kind of my wake up call.
Yeah,
On one of my videos, you'll see there was a year transformation where my 48th birthday, I felt depressed, didn't know what to do. I was like, I just raised two daughters. My youngest
yeah,
daughter had just gotten out of the house. Okay, now what? Why?
yeah,
I should be super happy. I have a beautiful wife. I have a great job, beautiful wife. Why aren't I happy? And
yeah.
then
It's
that
because
that day, I felt like God said, "You need to start getting yourself in shape because I
Yeah.
was a little bit in shape in my early 30s, and I
Yeah.
was much happier. So I
Oh yeah.
joined the gym that day, started running the next day.
Yep.
I took it a little too far, but
Yep.
I,
Same.
I noticed the whole mindset shift just through
Oh
fitness.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
I know you talk about that a lot.
Oh yeah. When I did this similar thing, maybe at a slightly younger age. I was, probably 3 years ago, I weighed the heaviest I'd ever weighed. I was like 185. And not that that's even that big, but um I I felt like just trying to jog a mile at like 10-minute pace, I would be dead,
Hmm.
dead. And I got to this point where mentally I was like, man, I got to get in shape. And it just felt like I was getting pulled to go run. So sometimes in the middle of the day, I would feel like my chest just like about to explode. And that's kind of where my journey started. I just started running. I would bring shorts and shoes with me everywhere I went and just keep them in the truck. And some days at work, I'd be like, all right, well, it's the hottest time of the day. I'm gonna go run right now. And I would go run usually until I got close to throwing up. And one week I think I did 78 miles, and that was like the most I ran in a week.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, from there it just it just grew. I try and I try and take these positive habits and just build them into even more positive habits. So like it started with running. Now I work out every day. I try and get my steps every day. And one of the best ways for me to do that is taking my son for a walk. He's almost two, but he's been out there with me some of those days running. And I have one of the strollers where you can run in it. So he's kind of, kids pick up on everything that they see. So the best thing that we can do as men and as fathers is show them. And if he goes outside, which he loves going outside now, he just wants to run. And it's like the most beautiful thing. It's like
Yeah.
he'll even just jog down a path with me, and he's not even two yet. It's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's amazing how, like you talk about, kids need to see
Yeah.
an example. And you had
Yeah.
this rough upbringing where you didn't see these kind of things.
Yeah.
Your dad was he was a Green Beret or something?
My dad was Marine Corps recon,
Marine
so
Corps.
he
Okay.
was always very strict, very short fuse, very strict. Um, but I will say the one thing that my dad always kind of showed me was hard work,
Hmm.
um, which he's one of the big reasons why I touch on this stuff in the trades. And it's not so much a negative thing. I think it's a lack of, or maybe not a lack of, but it's a result of pure focus on the work, you
Correct.
know?
Yeah.
And when you have pure focus on the work, everything else seems to fall to the wayside.
Yep.
And I believe the best thing that we can do as men is focus on our weaknesses and build those areas so that we're strong all around. Because anyone that tries to bring us down or take us down, they're going to be looking for that weakness. And that's where they're going to jab the stake, you know? So, spiritually, physically, mentally, we got to be strong all around. Um, but yeah, I think he also showed me a lot of growth. He was, you know, when he had another son later with his third wife, and I got to see him. They had him when I was 13, so I got to kind of see him be a dad again. And the way that he approached being a dad again was completely different than how he approached it with me and my older brothers. And, I have nothing but incredible things to say about like the amount of growth that I saw from him the past, 20 years.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So where is your mom today?
My mom is in prison today. She is
Hmm.
in Coronado prison, women's prison.
Do you still talk to her? Has she seen the
Um,
growth in you?
you know, I think she has. I did talk to her last year. I was trying to connect with her a lot and kind of I opened myself up to kind of trying to repair that relationship. So
Hmm.
I gave her, I called her, sent her letters, gave her my number, stuff like that. But um, sadly, addiction is something that um, people can still get their hands on in prison and very easily. Um, and it was just talking with me was a way for her to just ask for more money.
Wow.
And as sad as it was to kind of just let her know that I wasn't willing to subject myself to that kind of low vibration energy on a
Hmm.
consistent basis. Um, I got to put my family
For
first,
sure. Yep.
and I want to be the best husband to my wife, the best father to my kids, and she had, really been affecting me mentally, the fact that she just wanted money. So I had to basically just let her know, like, let's just stick to writing for now on, and we'll see where that goes. And
Yeah. Well,
she wrote me a letter recently.
hmm.
I don't know if you can read it, but
Well,
I'll read her
I,
letters and stuff. But
yeah. Well, I do believe God can redeem anyone. So
100%,
when
yeah,
we end the podcast, if you're okay with it, I'd
yeah.
like to pray
Let's
with you.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be one thing that I would say as well is like anybody listening, I think the best thing that I can do is for her is just kind of share her name and hopefully get as many people praying for her that God will um, light the path for her to escape the darkness that she's walked into and just kind of light her soul up and show her the way, And
Amen.
yeah, her name's Heidi. Um,
Okay.
and she was a incredible mom. I will say that,
Hmm.
very
Well, she was teaching you how to
um,
cook.
yeah. She was teaching me. She taught me lots of stuff. She was very tough. She was very motivating. She definitely brought me to Christ and to Jesus and to the church often. And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. A couple before I end the interview, there's
Hmm.
a question I ask every guy that comes on the podcast.
Hmm.
David was in the cave of Adullam running away from Saul, and even during that time he had chances to kill Saul, but he respected Saul enough that he wouldn't kill him. But also during that time Saul was not paying attention to what was going on in the kingdom. He wasn't being a good leader. The men were disgruntled, disheartened, discouraged, didn't know what to do. They came to David looking for direction. The Bible doesn't tell us exactly what David said to these men to turn them around, but he said something that turned them into the mighty men of David. So if you have this situation today, you're speaking to a group of modern men who are disgruntled, disheartened, discouraged, don't know what to do next with their life. What would you say to them?
And I would tell them that, the best thing that you can do is believe deeply in yourself, number one. Number two is to just put in maximum effort to improve yourself internally every single day. Because the greater your vibration, the greater you're gonna raise the vibration around you, and more people that you're going to attract that are like-minded to what you're trying to accomplish. And if, a group of men can do that, then they're going to be absolutely unstoppable.
Amen. All right. I'm going to pray for you and your mom.
Awesome.
And then I want to ask you how people can reach out to you if they're interested in flooring or what, because you also do some mindset and some nutrition, fitness
Yep.
stuff.
I do mindset, fitness, and nutrition coaching, and I do that all remote. So if anybody is interested, I can definitely plug you in, get you your macro plan, also get you fully customized workouts to kind of tailor to what you're trying to accomplish and your goals that you're trying to accomplish. And, having weekly coaching calls where we can kind of connect and dive through any troubles or wins that you're wanting to share. That's what I'm all about.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Jesus, we come before you, Lord, thanking you for your love, your grace, and your mercy, Lord. Lord, I pray for Jordan and Heidi and the rest of his family, his wife and his son. I pray, Lord, that you continue to bless them, encourage them, continue to grow Jordan, that he can inspire many men that come along his path, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that you will just help him grow in the kingdom as he reads your word. And I pray for Heidi, Lord. I pray that you reach her in the prison cell, Lord, that you let her know you're real, Lord, and you deliver her from the addiction, Lord, and you just cleanse her and make her whole. I pray, Lord, that you just send one of your angels to touch her like she's never been touched before. So the next time Jordan comes on this podcast, he will have this testimony of how his mom has been delivered from all the addictions. I thank you and I praise you, Lord, in your name. Amen.
Amen. That was beautiful.
Well, it's been a pleasure having you.
Hey,
Oh,
it's been a
how,
pleasure having a conversation with you, man. Appreciate you having me on.
you're welcome. How can guys reach out to you?
So best way to reach out to me is through Instagram. My Instagram handle is one.contract.flooring. And I pretty much push everything through there. So you'll see all the flooring, you'll see all the mindset, fitness, daily workouts that I'm doing on there. And yeah, I'm just here to try and motivate and inspire people to be better every single day, one day at a time.
Awesome. You've inspired me. I'll have all that
Hey,
in the show notes. Hope to see you
awesome.
again soon.
Hey, thank you, brother. You have a great day.
You too.